All right, guys, this video by Lebanon is going to be strictly over how to develop your city. Now, I know that I've had this question before. I've even had a video that I did over this before and all. And the only reason why I'm doing this video is to basically show you the evolution of what you need to expect later in the game. Because when you're setting up your city, a lot of people are like, well, how many barracks? How many this? How many that? Blah, blah, blah. I completely understand that you want to go through and get it right because if you have to demolish the buildings and then rebuild them, it is a pain in the butt. So let me go through and tell you how I did it, and then also how when I was talking with this other guy that was in this new clan of mine and everything, he kind of opened up my eyes to, hey, I was doing junior level city development. Now it's to where we're doing grown man crap, or basically grown person crap, because there are a lot of women that play this game. So one thing that I had before that like went through and helped me out, I had a stone cutter, a lumber mill. All right, stone cutter. We had our lumberjack's house, and then we also had our foundry. These three are your building material resource, basically hubs. You need to have at least one of each of these in order to do your walls. So, needless to say, everybody basically goes through and it originally suggests that you put them up in this upper left hand corner and all. So, definitely go through and you make sure you have at least one. Now, what I did, because you still have to build a consulate and a warehouse and a temple and all this other kind of stuff, you still will go through and have extra spaces that are big, huge left over. So I had one right here, 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 and I think there was, oh gosh, like one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Oh, I think there was nine extra. So if you're like, okay, well, then what do you do with the nine extra spots? Originally, I had them as my lumberjack's house, my stone cutter, and my foundry, or whatever, in order to basically build extra resources. Now, you're going to need these building resources for going through and like basically upgrading your buildings, upgrading your walls, all this other kind of stuff. But then when you get later in the game and you're in a really, really good clan, which is what I'm in now, I'm opening so many chests per day that are, you know, $250,000 for lumber, $1 million for lumber, $1 million for iron, $1 million for stone, $500,000 for this, $500,000 for that. That I don't even care about building resources anymore. So when you're building initially and you're going through and you're in a basically developmental level clan, like a lower one where they're opening, 500 chests a day or 1,000 chests a day, but the all lower level chests. Not all, but a majority are lower level. Then you're going to need every single resource you could possibly get your hands on. But then when you're higher, you have it to where you don't go through and expect your buildings to actually give you what you need. Like, let me put it to you this way. Right now, out of this one stone cutter place, I am making 2,500 stone per hour. That's depressing. Because think of it this way, right? If I'm doing 2,500 per hour or whatever, then think about like how many hours does it take in order for me to do just one building upgrade on a level 30, a level 40 level building. Heck, I mean, even on a level 20 level building and everything like that, I would have to wait basically like 1 to 2 days at the very least, even to do a level 15 building. So these don't matter anymore. Like once you get to a certain point, you need to have at least one of each and everything. But like if you get it to where you're in the right clan, I can open in an hour what it would take these guys a week in order to go through and produce. And that's even like being nice to them. Like I could demolish these right now and never even tell the difference in the amount of production I have. The only thing that would matter would be that it would be like, well, I can't upgrade my walls anymore because these three are gone. So what I did was I went through and I demolished all of my extra building resource buildings. So I ended up with 9 extra spots throughout my city that I could go through and I could add whatever the heck I needed to. Now, I went through and I added barracks. Here's the reason why. When you're getting huge amounts of silver in the game, and once you get into a really good clan, you're going to be getting a ton of silver to where you just stop even mining silver anymore. You just get it. So, like on the challenge that we're currently sitting on, which is Rise of the Ancients. I'm going to go through and pull it real quick on up. Rise of the Ancients, when you get to a higher level with the robots or whatever, they originally start at level 1, and then every single time that your clan kills it, it goes up a level. So the next time that you summon it, it'll be a level 2, a level 3, blah, 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 way the heck on up. My clan is hitting, I think, 150 level at this point. So all the prizes that you're getting from it are huge, fat stacks of stuff. I have gotten, just from one summoning, I think like 300 million in silver. 300 million in silver is a huge, huge deal. I can spend 300 million going through and developing a massive army that would blot out the sun. But it's going to be to where like the army and everything, I'm going to send wave after wave after wave where my hero is maxed out, whether or not it's Hercules or Beowulf or whatever, that I'm sending up against this robot, and I'm not reviving my guys. Like there was a video that I watched a long time ago. It was one of the few videos I actually found on YouTube over this game. And this guy was just like, don't ever revive your guardsmen. It's a really bad idea. Now I know why. Because when you get to this level on this, in this type of clan, yes, reviving guardsmen is a really bad idea. But when you're first starting out the game, you don't have that luxury. You're not getting 5-10 million, silver per darn chest that you're opening up. You're lucky if you get 50,000 in a chest that you open up. So at that point, yes, you're probably going through and reviving your guardsmen, and it's going to cost you a huge amount in gold. Now, if you're smart and everything, then you're going to be like, okay, well, gold is a commodity that I really don't have a lot of. Right now I have 2.2 million and everything, but that's a huge amount of mercs that I can go through and revive and revive and revive. I don't revive monsters. I don't revive guardsmen. I only revive my mercs at this point. And part of the reason why I didn't like that guy's video is because he talked in a monotone voice like this to where it was really super boring. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Okay, so we got to get our own videos. So anyways, once you get to a certain level in the game, then you could go through and demolish most of your, building resource buildings. The other thing that you got to basically approach the game as is how many accounts are you going to have? Because when you initially start the game, you have the one and you're concentrating on it and you're spending money on it and you have a certain amount of time that you got to devote to it and everything. But then once you get to a high level in the game, you really don't need to devote that much time to it. It's like, hey, I can get done everything I need to on this account in 1 hour a day. And that's at a very, very super high level clan. If I'm a high level player, I probably am going to devote 3 hours a day to basically my accounts. So then I could do at least one account. I might be doing 2, 3, 4. There are players out here in this game that have 7 to 10 accounts. Heck, I know one player that has 25. So because of that, they're going through and they're spending a very, very short amount of time every single day to their accounts and basically going through and collecting the chests that everybody's given me. They go through and they have an auto clicker to where they're like, open, and it opens all of your chests within the course of 20 seconds. And then they're going through and they're hitting those arenas, they're hitting the common crypts and everything, and they're just basically doing their dailies or whatever. And they can get their dailies done on their account even within 15 minutes. So then they're like, okay, on to the next account, on to the next account, on to the next account. When you get to that level where you have multiple accounts, the main one that you're using is usually going to be nothing but farms. So one thing that I'm about to start doing and all, and you can see that I'm transitioning from a junior level player, which is what I was before, to an elite level player, is where I am basically switching over all those building resources to barracks. I'm going to be switching over all my mansions on over to farms. So I will keep this mansion and everything that's a level 44 because I need to be at a 45 in order to be able to get G9. But I'm getting so much silver a day, and you could go through and like per hour right now, I am getting in silver alone 500,000 per hour. Okay, so that's a good amount and everything. In 24 hours, I'm going through and getting roughly about 12 million a day. But when I'm opening up chests from different people in my clan, I'm getting 12 million per half hour, 12 million per hour. So I don't really need the mansions anymore. And granted, all my mansions are at like 24, 29, somewhere in between. They're not really all that high and everything. I'm going to go through and demolish every single one of them, except from probably like 2 or 3, to where in case crap happens and I don't have like, all the help from my clan or whatever, or if I have to do my own thing or whatever, that I still have silver. Now, granted, you get to a certain point in this game to where you're getting so much silver that you start to stockpile it. So, like, here's a good, for instance, of it. Open up my items list, resources, silver, 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 silver. And look at these numbers. These are not low level numbers of the 75,000. Once you get up to a higher level and everything, now granted, these numbers are nothing in comparison to the players that I play with. So it kind of gives you guys that are watching this video an idea as far as, hey, when you evolve to later in the game, it is going to be fat stack incredible. Like I have 1.3 billion in silver just currently sitting on my highest amount. But that doesn't include my all other amounts. I probably have about 2 billion in silver. I know the player that I was talking to when I first got into this clan, he has about 300 billion in silver just sitting around at all times. That's the difference in basically the players on a lower level clan compared to the players on a higher level clan. And when you're a veteran of the game versus when you're a newcomer to the game. I've only been playing this game for 14 weeks. So I'm growing way faster than most other people, but there are people that are so freaking huge that it makes me even feel small. So then once you go through and you switch out a lot of these different mansions for farms, what this guy was doing, and I fully agree with him and everything, because right now my amount of food that I'm making per hour, let's see. Oh, you know what? I have a better way to show this to you guys. Statistics, resources. Okay, so for those of you that can read this and everything, and I'll try and go through and break it down for you as best I can. The production per hour for my lumber is about 20,000 per hour. And then if you go on down to food, my production per hour is roughly about 2 million per hour. Now, imagine it this way, right? This guy that I was talking to and all, he had it to where out of the 24 different spots that you have, and for the smaller level buildings, you have 24 of them. Whether or not they're mansions or they're farmers' houses or whatever, depends upon what exactly your needs were. I did 8 farmers initially and 16 mansions, and that worked extremely well for me for the longest time. And when I was in a lower level clan and everything like that, you need mansions. But then when you get to a higher level clan like this, like a tier 1 level clan, then you can go through and start replacing all these mansions with the farmer houses. Now, here's what the guy does. He is getting roughly about 10 million to 15 million, somewhere in there. I can't remember what the exact number was. I think it was like maybe 12 million per hour. And his army is that big. So that means that when you look at the guy's army and everything, so like, let's look at mine real quick. I have mercs, yeah, nice. but mercs don't count against your food resources. This guy, in the amount of monsters that he had, probably is about 6 to 7 times more than I have. He probably has 500 of each one of these different monster types. He probably has, and I think he had told me he has like 200, or it's like 200 to 500,000 of each one of the different guardsmen. Like Coraxes, he has 100,000 of. That is a huge, ridiculous amount and everything. But when he's going up against an ancient robot or whatever, he's able to send a maximum level group, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And it's to where his stuff is already created. And then what he does is, after the robot is dead, then he'll sit there literally for like 20 minutes and he'll just click, like army. Okay, I need these guys. I'm going to go through and train them and everything. And the amount of barracks that he has, plus the amount of food that he's producing, which can support them, he's not making, 10,000 of these guys per turn. He's making 50,000, 60,000 of these guys per turn. So every single time that he's trained, he's making 50 to 60,000 of the smiters, 50 to 60,000 of the punishers, or of your melee, or of your riflemen, or your horseback, your mounted groups, or whatever. He's making huge amounts. Now, his army, when he gets attacked, is also having it to where he's making, because he's layering his troops. He has level 9 guardsmen. He also has level 8 guardsmen and level 7 guardsmen that are in his city. If you look at his army, he has 3 different tiers of guardsmen, which goes through and immensely helps out, because then of the fact that it's called layering your attacks, and it actually has a huge amount of benefits that I'm going to go into at a later date and time once I fully understand it in a little bit better of a way. So when you're first starting out the game, 8 farmers, 16 mansions works beautifully. But then when you get to a high level clan and you've developed very well into the game, turn all the extra buildings that were building resources into barracks, turn all of your mansions into farmer houses, and max those darn suckers on out so that you can have a standing army of 5 to 10, 15 million per hour on your main account. Now, if you have an alternative account and everything, like an extra account, you can go through and devote that entirely to silver, where you'd have one farmer house in order to support a little pesky little army. And then you would have it to where the rest of them would be completely devoted towards your silver production. So that, let's say, for instance, right, that because you only have the one mansion or whatever, you can have it to where that extra account is sending you silver constantly. So if I'm making 12 million per hour off of the one level 44 mansion, and then all these other guys, if I had it to where I had 23 mansions in a city, all at level 45, I'm probably making roughly about 100 to 150 million in silver per day. And then what you do is you send all that on over to your main account. So you have caravans constantly going in between your two cities just to be able to go through and supply your main account in order to make it to where you have a huge standing army and you have the silver in order to go through and back it up in order to keep on making more and more and more. And the reason why you don't go through and have it to where the silver or the mansions stay in your main account, like, more than one, is just because of the fact that you need that huge army in order to be able to fight with. You can't send reinforced armies all the time to everything. Now, what you could do is, because of the fact that if you notice, guys, I am bubbled up now constantly. On a high-level clan, you will never see it to where a person is not bubbled up. And if they aren't bubbled up, it means that they're probably an empty shell of a city. And then all the attacks that basically are being sent out to other areas and everything are coming from that one city that if you're an enemy and you go through and attack it, you're going to get no resources out of it. You're going to get nothing. You just get a reinforced city that might have half the freaking clan in it. Probably not a good idea. So there is a big, huge difference in between a beginner level city and a grown level city. I would highly recommend that any player that has gotten to the point to where they are in a tier 1 level clan, like the ultimate, really top 50 in the world type of might level clans, that you go through and you switch your city on around to having it to where you have less building resources, more barracks, less mansions, more farmhouses. With that being said, that's all for this video and everything. I hope you guys got some appreciation out of it. The difference in between a low level city and a high level city. If you haven't gone through and liked the video, please go through and do that. If you want to subscribe and everything, by all means, I don't really care. Yeah, hopefully, but I don't care. And then also, if you have any comments as to whether or not you liked the video or you learned anything from it, please go through and leave a comment. If it's a question about something or you want me to do a video over something, I will start checking them probably about once every single few days. My eyesight sucks. My wife helps me read all the comments and everything, so that's the reason why I don't respond immediately to everybody's comments. Sorry. All right, you guys have a good day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.